G'day legends, we're going to check out the Electro-Harmonix String9 today, which basically transforms your guitar into a string synthesizer. You've got a 9-way mode selector here, which lets you select between 6 different string synth sounds and 3 hold modes. And then you've got a dry blend control, an effect blend control, and 2 extra controls on here whose function changes depending on the mode you're in. Normally they're for the release and some kind of tone control, but a few modes have different things like a kind of filter sweep or a phaser on there. It's a mono input pedal, and then you've got 2 jacks on the other side, one for the effect and one for the dry. There's an internal dip switch in here that you can change so that you can have it basically do kill dry on the effect out, which is very handy if you just wanted to use this, say, in parallel with your main rig, which I would kind of recommend, but we're going to talk about that later in the video. First, let's just hear some DI sounds. I'll go through the 6 main modes and then the hold modes on there. I'll give you a very, very short snippet at the start with just the pedal dry, but I think it sounds considerably better with a tiny amount of reverb on there. We will hear some clips with loads and loads of effects on there as well, which I think sounds even better. So let's just hear it, DI, no dry guitar signal in here. hold examples, I'm going to be running this in parallel to my main sound. So the guitar sound isn't being blended in on the pedal. It is just doing its own thing. It's recorded separately. And then the kind of pad hold sound is just coming out of the effect output on here. I've processed them separately and just kind of blended them together. This is the kind of context I could imagine this being really handy live if you wanted to do a solo spot, or you just wanted to noodle around at home where you can just play a chord and then you can kind of, with your rig, however you want to do it, take it out of the signal chain, which is what I'm doing. I actually did it manually because I've got it hooked up with my Axe effects, and then just kind of noodle away over it. So let's hear the 3 different hold modes with plenty of noodling. I mentioned earlier about running this in parallel. I want you to hear this just in line with the main rig. So it's going guitar, blended out of the main output in front of an amp. Sounds okay. Now, of course, if you add loads of gain on the amp, it's going to be pretty unworkable, and you're also going to get things like intermodulation distortion between the synth sound and your guitar sound. It's going to be a big mess. It might be super cool if that's the sound you're going for, but if you wanted to kind of get the sound you're about to hear, I think running in parallel works way better, where the guitar is separated and can be mixed in separately with the string synth. I want to try now is actually play a section from a Ragdoll song. I'm going to play the kind of coda on the song Shine, and I want to play around with 1 or 2 of the modes there, again blended in parallel, just to give this ending section a bit more oomph. In my head, it always kind of sounded like a cross between, say, Valley of the Kings by Blue Murder and that main riff in Kashmir. So I'll try 1 or 2 different sounds, I'll add some processing on there, and we'll see what works in parallel with a whole lot of distortion in drop C. to do that live, for me, I've got two main options. I can connect this in the effects loop of my Axe effects or my FM3 and just kind of get it to work there and slowly blend it in on the main guitar channel, which goes DI to front of house anyway. Or I could set it up in parallel and send it to its own channel on the mixing desk live. That just means extra stuff for the sound guy to plug in. And if it's just for a single section of one song, does kind of seem like overkill. So it is one of those pedals where I think if you wanted to integrate it into your rig, you'd actually have to have a really great reason to do it. And you'd need specific parts, maybe more than one part to really motivate you to do it. Otherwise, you kind of get into that situation where you have, not an inexpensive pedal on your board and special routing. And you're like, well, I've got this thing, I better use it. So you end up overusing it. That would be one of my criticisms of it there. The other thing is there's no attack control on there, which I suspect is their workaround of dealing with the inherent latency of what is going on in here. It would be really nice to be able to kind of change the attack on some of those notes in there. Otherwise, it's kind of magic. They sound really, really good. The synth sounds in there, especially when you add a little bit of processing, are super convincing. It's super inspiring to play around with, even though it does have its moments of frustration where you might play a chord and you kind of don't get the trigger quite right. But I do have to say, in comparison to say like the Fishman triple play, I enjoyed this way more, way easier to set up and use. It's probably not quite as accurate or detailed as the stuff you can do with, say, a Roland GK or a Psych-Fi setup, triggering different synthesizers. But the fact that you don't need any special gear, you just plug your guitar in, and there's a mute mode on there, which I really like. Again, you can send it in parallel. I think that's really handy and really well thought out. And that basically you can get your sound in a couple of minutes, provided you kind of know what you want on here. I think mode 1 and mode 5 on here are definitely my favorite. They just kind of remind me of classic string synthesizers that I like. Maybe the kind of like floppy Mellotron style thing in there is really cool as well. There was an example earlier which I really liked. So yeah, it's something that I definitely wouldn't recommend to everybody. I think if you're looking for these sounds and you don't want a specialty pickup or anything like that, this is going to tick the box. Electro Harmonics do a bunch of other pedals like this. They do the Key9 and there's like an organ style one as well. It's really, really cool technology. I think it is not for everybody. There's a bunch of people who would have watched this video and gone, I'm never going to use those cheesy sounds. For me, I'm going to go, yeah, there's actually probably times when I do want these sounds, and especially the hold modes in there. Again, they're just really handy for jamming and working on ideas and improvising, which I like. So stuff about this is executed so well. Stuff about it comes with inherent compromises. They're my thoughts. I'd be very keen to hear your thoughts on this whole series of pedals, and if this is something you would be looking at. Of course, I have to mention, go and check out Bill Ruppert's amazing demo of this, playing so many great sections of classic songs to go with this. It is far more sophisticated than what I have done here, but I just tried to represent it in a way that I would actually use this particular pedal. So yeah, they're my thoughts on the String9. My wife actually got me this for Christmas, and it is one of the coolest pedals I've ever tried in my life, one of the best gifts I've ever received. So send Elspeth some extra love in the comments section below. If you like what I'm doing here on the channel, you can support it. Lots of different links in the video description. Check them out. You can get some free IRs. You can come and join the Discord server and chat more. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day. Let's hear that segment from Shine again with lots and lots of effects on it, because it's all about the grease. I'll see you next time.